Hello everyone, it's Kaylee here, and I'm just about to join on to a webinar that I signed up to about Pinterest. I joined Pinterest about a week ago and I'm still like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I thought that I could zoom this and share it with the team. So I'm just going to screen share. It will be starting in a few minutes. We may have Lauren join us as well, because that's the reason why I'm doing a Zoom. And then I thought, well, I may as well record it while I'm at it as well.
Melanie Duncan is a serial entrepreneur with businesses in a variety of industries from apparel to customized home decor. Starting with little experience, Melanie took her first business from the brink of failure and turned it into a multi-million-dollar brand by embracing modern marketing techniques, and she's never looked back. She now runs a multi-seven-figure empire with her husband Devin and lives the work from wherever lifestyle that so many dream of. Her businesses have been featured on ABC's Good Morning America, NBC, and inside the pages of major international publications. She has been invited to speak on stages across the globe, from Stockholm to the Condé Nast headquarters in her hometown of New York City. Melanie has translated her passion and experience into a role as an online educator, helping thousands of people start and grow successful businesses of their own. She has consulted on digital strategy with the major corporations. However, her true mission is to get more people past the $1 million mark in their businesses. Through her courses and community, she shares proven strategies and systems from inside her own businesses that provide people with a real advantage in their marketplace. In 2012, she created a revolutionary training called The Power of Pinning, which brings visual marketing principles together with psychological triggers to show businesses how to leverage the profitable social media platform Pinterest in their niche. That training alone has been used by more than 13,000 entrepreneurs and social media strategists around the world. Melanie also proudly leads one of the largest online communities of female entrepreneurs with more than 160,000 subscribers. She empowers business owners by providing them with resources, relationships, and valuable training materials to help them work smarter and live larger. Experienced entrepreneur, award-winning speaker, Melanie Duncan.
Hello and welcome to the workshop. Today we're going to be talking all about how to use Pinterest for your business. And we are going to have a lot of fun. In fact, this is one of my favorite topics to teach. I've been using Pinterest for business for years now, and I've got some very unique strategies that I think you're really going to love to hear. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Please make sure that you have something to take notes with. You have a glass of water or tea or wine, something to keep you hydrated throughout today's presentation. I'm going to try to keep it right around an hour. We might go a little bit over an hour at the end because I will be doing a full Q&A portion. So if at any point some questions pop into your mind, just make sure to make a note of them and I will do a full Q&A after I'm done presenting today's information. So you're in the right place today to learn about how to use Pinterest for business. Now, how many of you are currently using Pinterest right now, but you're not quite sure how to use it for business? Maybe you have a personal account and you're pinning some great shoes you like or a trip you want to take, but you haven't quite figured out how you would use it to get traffic to your site or how you would use it to sell more of your products or services. Well, you are in the right place to learn all about that today. Before we go ahead and dive into some of the big strategies, I want to talk about how Pinterest is different and why it is such a powerful platform for using for business. So I love this statistic. Did you know about 90% of the information transmitted to the brain is visual? We are visual creatures, and I don't know about you, but I know I'm a very visual person. I'm a visual learner, and I'm really persuaded and enticed by visual information. It's no new information that images sell. It's something that advertisers and marketers have known for years. But Pinterest is the first platform that's really tying into the visual nature of consumers and using images to sell. And this is something very cool to pay attention to. The average order value when a user follows through on a social media purchase from Pinterest is double the size of that from Facebook. So you can see that people are on Pinterest to shop. They are on Pinterest to spend money, which is why it's so important that you understand how to get your products and services on Pinterest as well. The Wall Street Journal reported that Pinterest users are nearly twice as likely to buy than Facebook users. And this makes sense when we really think about it, right? When you think about it, people are on Facebook to check out their friends, to kind of see what people are up to share photos of what they're doing. I like to compare it to, Facebook is like a great, neighborhood bar or coffee shop where you go to catch up with people, to meet, to talk, where Pinterest is like a really great shopping center or a mall or a place where you go to discover interesting new businesses and brands and products. And that's why we see people use Pinterest in a very different way and why it is so conducive for businesses to be on. In fact, 70% of people use Pinterest to get inspiration on what to buy, compared to just 17% of people use Facebook for that very same thing. 70% versus 17%. That is a huge difference. But the reason I want you to understand and pay attention to this information is because I know as a business owner, you have a lot of different options pulling you in a million different directions when it comes to how to market your business. I am a business owner as well. I'll tell you a little bit about myself and my business and Pinterest in just a moment. But the truth is, I understand that you need to evaluate your options properly. You need to look at all of the things in front of you and figure out where it makes the most time to really makes the most sense to really be spending your time and your resources. And Pinterest is too profitable a platform for you to ignore or for you to be using without a strategy. So you're in the right place, because not only will I be talking about how to use Pinterest for business, I'm going to be showing you a comprehensive strategy in a way that you've probably never seen before. Now, Pinterest is currently responsible for 41% of e-commerce traffic. So that's more than twice as much as Facebook. This is huge, particularly if you sell products online. You understand that it's not just about traffic, but it's about the quality of traffic that you're receiving. And we're seeing time and time again that the traffic that Pinterest is sending to e-commerce sites is top quality. Now, 80% of pinners buy within 3 weeks of pinning something. And this is something that I found to be true from my own personal experience, but I think it's really important to point out, because the truth is, just getting traffic to your site is not enough. And when Pinterest first came onto the scene, I was a little bit skeptical about using it for business, because just because you get a bunch of traffic for something doesn't mean it's actually going to turn into be your dream clients and customers or people that are actually going to buy from you. But we do see that not only is Pinterest sending clicks, not only are people clicking through and getting exposed to new businesses, but they're actually buying, they're actually taking action. And I believe it's the use of images that really does help cultivate that level of desire and enable you to market and to sell in such an effective way. But we'll be talking about that more today. One of my favorite things to talk about when I am teaching Pinterest to my clients is not just using Pinterest to get business. Yes, Pinterest can send you a ton of traffic. It can get you great amounts of exposure. But Pinterest is actually a very effective tool to do business, to actually get in front of your clients and customers in an innovative way, but then also serve them, to actually find surprising ways to use Pinterest to showcase ideas. Pinterest is a phenomenal platform to be getting a lot of research from your clients and customers for matters such as how much to charge, what you should be selling or offering, new ideas for content, seeing which type of content your audience is going to respond to. All of this stuff can be learned on Pinterest by using it in a very attention-oriented manner. And when we look at creativity, creativity is such an essential skill for business owners. This is something that I'm very, very passionate about. But a lot of times when we're just in our own business, we get so stuck in it, we can't see beyond it. And I found that using Pinterest to get inspired, to get in front of new ideas, inspiration, compelling imagery, has helped me not only leverage my brand, but it's also built my own visual skills and helped me literally think outside the box. So I'm really excited you're here today because as you can see, the different ways that you can use Pinterest are very varied, and there's a lot of potential to use it professionally and also personally to enhance your business. So let's talk about what we're going to be covering during today's workshop. There are some very important things I really want to hone in, and I will specifically be covering my proven 3-step system for using Pinterest to grow your business. As I mentioned, I've been using Pinterest for a couple of years now for both selling products and services and information and programs online. So I've really been able to dial in what works, and that's my goal for today. I want to show you where you can get the biggest wins and the least amount of time with this platform. I'm not going to ask you to spend a ton of time on Pinterest, but I am going to ask you to be very strategic and selective with what you're pinning and how you're doing so to make sure you really get results. We're going to be talking about what to pin. As I mentioned, one of my businesses that is thriving on Pinterest doesn't even sell physical products. One of my businesses sells information and services, and I've come with some very inventive things, very effective things that you can pin that is not a physical product but can still cultivate desire for your services. I'm also going to spend quite a chunk of today talking about how to create powerful pins, because the truth is there's a lot of people pinning on Pinterest, but they have no idea what they're doing. Maybe you're here today because you've been pinning, but you don't really have a strategy. You're not seeing enough traction from it. We're going to be talking about how to carefully curate quality content for Pinterest that will really allow you to stand out and enhance your brand. So I want to tell you a little about who I am and my background with Pinterest. So one of my first businesses, I actually own a business called Luxury Monograms, and we sell beautiful items for the home. So we sell customized pillows and tote bags and pajamas and placemats and napkins, all sorts of beautiful embroidery products. And when I first started this business, I didn't have a ton of money to spend on advertising. I was trying a lot of different strategies, and nothing was really working. I was doing Google AdWords, I was doing some paid advertisements, I was even going to booths, setting up booths at conferences and being an exhibitor, spending a lot of time, a lot of money, but not seeing any traction. And when Pinterest first came onto the scene, I started doing a little bit of testing because I was using Facebook and trying to cover all of those bases, really just trying to get something to work. Maybe you're in that place right now. And what I found is that I was getting traction on Pinterest better than any other platform I was using at that time, and it was working really, really well. So what I decided to do was to test and study and really become obsessed with Pinterest until I could dial in exact things that worked not only for me, but I started teaching other business owners as well. But I really like talking about my background in business because I think it allows me to teach Pinterest in a very different way. Because I have a real business that sells physical items, I've been able to test strategies personally, and I don't teach anything inside my programs or inside my trainings that I haven't used in my own businesses. And our businesses now, after building a very successful Pinterest strategy, have been featured on ABC's Good Morning America, on NBC on the Nate Berkus Show, and the pages of magazines across the globe. And it all started with a very effective social strategy. So I'm going to be telling you about that today. As I mentioned, I became obsessed with Pinterest, testing all different types of things, spending a lot of time getting really good at creating imagery. And I am very happy to report that Pinterest is actually the #1 traffic source for my e-commerce site. And I tell you this because I want you to understand the things that I'm teaching you today are proven. I've used them in my own business, and I've taught thousands of business owners in a really wide variety of industries how to use Pinterest for their businesses as well. I'm not teaching you anything that I just read about online or found a blog post. These are strategies that I have implemented and executed as a small business owner that you can execute as well. So we're going to go ahead, jump straight in, and talk about how to use Pinterest for business. And there's really 2 main opportunities I want you to pay attention to. First and foremost is your site. And a lot of times, this part of Pinterest marketing strategy tends to get ignored. But the truth is that 85% of content that's shared on Pinterest is by users from websites, not from brands on the Pinterest platform. We're going to talk a lot about what you can do as a business owner to get your content out there on your own page, but the majority of the content is coming from people when they're on your website, getting them to pin. So let's talk about what you can do to get more people to pin your content. First of all, you need engaging imagery. Beautiful images. I invest in professional photography even before I could afford to do that. I studied up and figured out how I could take really great photos with my iPhone. I paid attention to lighting, to layout, to making sure that I had things styled as best I could. But the truth is, you can actually go through the existing content you most likely have on your website right now and just add in more imagery. When I first started seeing traction for using Pinterest with my service business, what I did is I went back through my blog posts and I added more images. I added infographics to blog posts I had already written. I went through and I made sure that I installed a pin it button in all of my posts and below, and I actually encouraged people in the copy to pin the infographic below, share it with people. The key is to encourage the natural traction at your website by already beginning and get more people to share your content. And in fact, you can actually go to pinterest.com/source/your website. So whatever your website is, I would insert luxurymonograms.com. And you can actually see what has already been pinned from your site. And not only is that just really fun to go do, but that's good to know to see what type of content people are already engaging with so you can do more of that. So now let's talk about what you can do with a Pinterest page. First and foremost, it's very important to have an official business account with Pinterest. It's completely free. You just need to go to business.pinterest.com, and you can either convert if you already have an account and you want to just change it over to a business account so you don't lose any content or any followers. You can convert an existing business account, or you can just create a whole new one. I have a couple different Pinterest accounts, some personal ones and different ones for each one of my businesses. The key is just that you want to have a professional business account so you get access to the resources that Pinterest offers business owners, such as analytics and such as promoted pins, the Pinterest advertising platform that we'll be talking about more today. So when you do have an official business account with Pinterest, it's very important to have a strategy. Now that you've got that platform, you really want to leverage it. So what I'm going to spend the most part of today talking about is sharing with you my 3-step system for powerful pinning. And the first step is to create great original content, not mediocre content, but content that will really stand out online. Step 2 is to curate and collaborate to build momentum fast. This is how you're going to be able to build a follower base on this platform. Step 3 is to plan for after the pin, to make sure that you actually have a process in place after people get to your site to cultivate a sale. All right, so let's talk about step 1, create great original content. Did you know that over 80% of the pins on Pinterest are repins? This is very important to understand because what happens is most people come onto Pinterest, they log in, it loads up, and they go, great, all this fun stuff to pin. And they repin what's already on the platform. This is a tremendous advantage as a business owner because what this means is that if you can get really good stuff on the platform, meaning pinning stuff onto your boards, onto your account, you can get access to a virtual army of people that are really just on there sharing and recirculating content for you. That's what people come onto Pinterest to do. Yes, they're pinning to their boards and creating their own little beautifully organized universe, but every time they pin something, it's also showing to their followers, unless it's a secret board. So pretty much the majority of stuff people are pinning, it's being repinned to a larger audience. I want you to change the way you think about the content that you might be putting on Pinterest. A lot of people set up a business account, they log in, and they just start following people and pinning stuff, and then a week later they come to me and they say, Melanie, Pinterest isn't working for me. I'm on Pinterest, I've been using it, but I'm not seeing results. I'm like, okay, well, what are our goals first and foremost? Well, I want to get more traffic and more sales. Okay, are any of the pins linked back to your site? Say, well, no, I was pinning pictures of shoes I wanted and a trip I want to go on and some websites I like. The key is the content needs to be from you. It needs to be your original content that is sharing helpful information, strategies, products that your customers want to buy, and it needs to be linking back to you and your business. So it's very important to think of that content as an investment piece. I am a big believer in quality over quantity, making less content that's actually better. And so I always talk about thinking of your content as a Chanel purse. A lot of times when I'm going to buy a very expensive handbag or a pair of shoes or something like that, I always tell my husband, Devin, that you think of it as an investment piece and consider the cost per wear. You know, if you buy a black Chanel handbag, it's something that you can use. It's timeless. You know, you can wear it hundreds and hundreds of times throughout your life, pass it down to your daughter. It gets a lot of cost per use, and you can break it down that every time I wear this handbag, it's just costing $1. So I talk about cost per use as kind of a fun example, but the same thing goes for your content. I spend pretty large investments in my photography and my visual design and my graphic design, but the truth is I'm able to do that now because I know how to leverage it properly. And I don't just use it in one place, but I use it in a lot of different ways. And that's what I want to teach you to do with your content as well. One of the most common questions I get from people when they start using Pinterest for business is, what the heck should I be pinning? Particularly if they don't sell a product online. So if you don't sell a physical product, maybe you have a service or you sell information or you're a coach, something like that, you might say, well, what am I supposed to pin if I don't have any physical products that I have pictures of? Well, this is a great point. And also for those of you that do sell physical products online, besides your products, what else should you be pinning? I just want you to remember, everybody loves pie. And this is a funny way that I remember great ways to create content or great ideas for content on Pinterest. So pie, P-I-E. Now P stands for peek, because people love to get a peek, get inspiration behind your business, why you do what you do. So a peek would be, for example, a behind the scenes board. Each one of my business accounts, I've created a behind the scenes board where I show, things that we're working on, inspiration behind the latest collection, the impact that we're out there making, the things that I'm going and doing, my life and how I'm living and how that affects what's going on in my business. And people love to see this. People love to feel like they're a part of something. We buy from brands that we feel like we're a part of, that we understand. So this is a great way to leverage content, is to think about giving people a peek behind the scenes of why you do what you do. The I in pie stands for inspire. And this is huge. This is so important. I mean, today's workshop is titled Selling Via Inspiration. The best way to sell on Pinterest is by inspiring your clients and customers. People are on this platform to learn, to explore, to grow. And you want to think about that when you're framing the types of content you're creating. So whether it's information, whether it's health and fitness, whether it's style information, people are on Pinterest to learn how to do great things. So give them the content that allows them to do that. And E is for educate. People love to be educated on Pinterest. And you probably see more of this now. When I first got started, nobody was talking about this. Pinterest users love to go and learn and to stockpile information and to consume content. One of the most effective things I've seen for the amount of engagement on my own boards is pins that teach, pins that actually show you how to do something, DIY, give you a recipe. People want to see this kind of information on the platform. And this is huge if you are a service provider thinking about what you can teach your clients or customers to provide value, to show and position your own expertise and how it can help a prospective client or customer. That's the most effective way to sell overall. And this is also great for if you sell physical products, because it allows you to start dipping your toe into content marketing, creating content around the products you sell and showing ideas and inspiration for how you use those products and get the most out of them. So now that we've talked about the main types of topics, I want to talk about the most popular types of pins in terms of formatting. If you have a great idea for something, what's the best way to package it? Because it's really the packaging that can make the difference. So when it comes to sharing information onto Pinterest, it's probably no surprise that it helps to make it really visual. And I have found that infographics tend to be one of the highest engagement forms of content on Pinterest. So if you have a blog post already that's teaching something, create an infographic that goes along with it and then pin that. Teasers. As we talked about, education inspiration is huge on Pinterest. And what I found very helpful to do is to create pins that are essentially just a beautiful image, whether it's my own photography or something I've purchased from stock photography, and overlay a great headline, a great little curiosity piece of provoking copy. So basically just a text teaser, and I'll show you some examples of these, but teaser pins, something that links to something on your site, but it just gives them a taste, it just gives them a tease, is one of the best strategies of type of content that actually drives traffic, because you provoke their curiosity. Checklists. You know, a lot of women using Pinterest, still primarily a very female-based platform. Don't you just love a checklist? I mean, I love checklists, and you have people on Pinterest that love organization. They love, you know, being able to streamline and systematize things. And so providing your content in the form of a checklist is a great way to create powerful pins. For example, maybe you're a travel agent and you decide that you're going to create a travel or a packing checklist, or maybe you wanted to create a checklist for some of the most popular destinations that you service for your clients. That is a fantastic way. I want you to be thinking about this and jotting down notes. What are some different things that you could teach that your customers or clients are interested in that you could create a checklist for them? And videos. Did you know that you can actually pin videos on Pinterest? There's not a lot of people that know this, and it's still a very underutilized form of content on the platform. The truth is, you can pin videos directly off of YouTube, and this is a phenomenal way to create very high value, quality branding experiences for prospective clients and customers. If you sell products, I could stand here and talk to you about, write an article about why our pillows are really beautiful and why we charge premium prices. Or I could film a video like we're doing right now, and I could say, this design that you see right here, and I could show it, we could get a really fancy like close-up angle of something. I could say this design took an hour and a half to run on one of our embroidery machines, and I could show B-roll, some fancy video term that my video guys taught me. I could show B-roll of our embroidery machine stitching this, and I could say each one of our pillows is hand-stitched or is stitched here in the United States and then hand-sewn together, and that's why we create the most quality embroidery designs in our market. How much more compelling is it to see and talk about something? If you do not use video to sell your products, you have a huge opportunity in front of you. Now, additionally, if you are a service provider, if you are a coach, if you are a personal brand, there is nothing more powerful than having video, being able to communicate with your audience. Then get that content onto Pinterest. It's unique, it stands out, and it creates an incredible brand impression. Last but not least, tutorials. And these in particular are really great if they're structured as kind of a multi-grid, so they have a couple different images. People are on Pinterest to learn how to do things, whether it's fitness, whether it's health, whether it's any sort of business growth strategies, personal growth strategies. People want to learn how to do things, and creating tutorials as a type of pin, and we'll show you exactly how to structure this in just a minute, but all of these formats are the most popular with the most highest rates of engagement on the platform. So now I want to share with you some of my favorite tools and resources. As I mentioned, I've been creating content and testing lots of different types of things on Pinterest for years now, and I found some must-have tools to use to create really great content. Now, a lot of people, when I talk about infographics and checklists and videos and all of this, they say, Melanie, that sounds great, but A, I don't have that kind of money to spend on my business. B, I'm not a techie person. I don't know how to do all this. They get overwhelmed and they just don't do it. And I found that a lot of times as humans, we tend to look for problems instead of solutions. So I want to give you the solutions. This is where you're really going to be able to stand out. These are great, free, or very, very affordable tools to create content, much of like I'm showing you here today. So Canva is an exceptional tool for creating any sort of imagery with text over it. So all of my teaser pins that I use for my blog posts, for articles, I create inside of Canva by uploading my own photography and then overlaying beautiful stylized text. Infogram, I was so excited when I found this. This is such a fun tool. This actually allows you to create your own infographics. It's a free tool, and you can input any kind of information, whether you want it to be a pie chart or a line graph, really, seriously, anything. It's so cool. They have all kinds of different templates, and you can choose the colors, add your branding. Amazing. But it's infogr.am. It's kind of a funky URL, so make sure that you Google Infogram, or that's how you're actually going to put it in. Viral Tag and Curate are both great, more industry level, professional level, so you do have to pay services if you want to schedule your pins. You can figure out what days, what times you get the most engagement, and kind of block out a bunch of stuff in advance if you're looking for more of a professional high-tier platform. ScreenFlow and Camtasia, hands down, the best for creating your own videos. So ScreenFlow is if you have a Mac, Camtasia is if you have a PC. They both do pretty much the same thing. But what I use ScreenFlow because I obviously have a Mac, and I love ScreenFlow because it allows you to record direct to camera, so I could record just like this off my camera. But it also allows me just to record my screen, which is really cool if you don't want to be directly in front of the camera. You can create presentations, you can do tutorials on your computer and record it, and that would create some amazing content for Pinterest. And since we're talking about great content, promoted pins. Pinterest recently just launched promoted pins where you can actually pay to get your pins shown. And this is so cool. And I do want to talk to you a little bit about how to leverage this and also some best practices. So I've been using this, testing some new things, and found some really big wins. So first and foremost, it is important to mention that right now promoted pins it's in beta, so it's invitation only. You have to get on a wait list. It's not something that's available. So this is another reason it's really important to make sure you have an official business account. But what I've found is there are some ways to make sure that you actually get an invitation and get bumped up the wait list. So you do have to go, you can Google promoted pins, or you can look inside your area as a business account, and you actually have to sign up to get on the wait list. If you want to look right now, you can just Google get on the wait list for promoted pins. It's very easy to find. They have a special page where you go and you get on the wait list. Once you're on the wait list, I've been on the wait list for some accounts for over a year, other ones for less than 3 weeks. Here's the deal. It's very important that you're pinning consistently. I tried to make sure that I was pinning a few things each day, and as soon as I did that, I got an invitation a lot faster. So if you are on the wait list and you think you just have to sit and wait there, the key is Pinterest is watching and seeing how active you are, and that's how they decide who they're going to bump up the list. Now, when it comes to pins that you choose to promote, I'll be going through some do's and don'ts, but I want to give you this example. This is one of my top performing promoted pins right now. And as you'll see, you're going to see some commonalities as we start talking about powerful pins and what the best practices are. But you'll notice how tall this is, the multiple spots of imagery, different products I'm showing in the ad, and also having a call to action, a title. I'll walk you through all of that, but I want you to pay attention to this ad and why it is so successful. So here are the promoted pins do's and don'ts that I've noticed so far. For do's, you want to create tall pins with lots of images. This is particularly important, lots of images, if you sell products, because you want to showcase more than one type of product so that it grabs different types of people. Now, you want to create tall pins because tall pins give you more real estate in the Pinterest feed. Wide pins just get kind of shrunk down. Tall pins get more actual screen space, so it takes up more attention and gets people to actually click and look at the ad. Another do is you want to include a compelling headline. It's the same as any type of advertising. If people are seeing something, you also want to have some sort of text that is talking about what they can see on the other side, why they should click on it, something that actually drives them to take action. You also want to select lots of terms for targeting. Here's what I'm talking about here. So for promoted pins right now, they actually do not show just in your newsfeed. So you won't just get in your followers' newsfeed. The way that it works is you can pay to have your pin shown when people are searching for something. So for example, some of the keywords I use for my luxury monograms would be monogrammed gifts, pillow, bedding, that type of stuff. Now, when you go and you create a promoted pin, you don't have to select that many terms. You can choose just one or two. But the more terms that you choose, the wider the net you kind of throw, the more traction you're able to get on the platform because it's shown for different types of people, and then you can test and see which terms work the best for you. For don'ts, don't design ugly ads. If something is ugly on Pinterest, it really doesn't work. People are on this platform for a beautiful visual experience, and if you create just gross ads that don't have good imagery with bad text, you just won't get the engagement, trust me. You also do not want to waste your caption space. You notice that in my promoted pin, there was a lot of text. I had a lot of keywords in there. All of that is really important because that is your ad space. If you're looking at an ad you're paying for, you have a certain amount of space where you can really convince people of why what you have is valuable, why they should want to learn more. So don't waste that caption space. And please don't pay for traffic without a strategy. This is a mistake I see a lot of beginning business owners make. Traffic does not equal more sales. You need to know who you're targeting, why you're targeting them, and how you're actually going to close the sale. So before you go and spend any money on Pinterest, make sure that you know what you're doing, which is a reason I'm so glad you're here today, because it's a waste of money if you don't begin with the end in mind. So you may have noticed I tend to have a lot of very strong opinions. They are founded in research on what the perfect pin should include in terms of elements. So I actually made this handy little infographic because I think it's always very helpful to see what someone's talking about. This is the perfect pin. If you're looking for key elements to use to really optimize a pin, this is what I want you to think about. First of all, as I mentioned, you want it to be tall. In fact, nothing less than 900 pixels in height. 600 by 900 tends to be a really nice proportion. If I'm doing a promoted pin, I tend to do 600 by anywhere around 2100 pixels. So you've got a really nice dimension in terms of the height and the width. Also, I put teaser text at the top, something to grab people's attention, really pull them in. I tend to use multiple images. If it's a blog post, I might show a little tutorial of how I'm teaching to do something. If it's a product, I might show the same product in a few different ways, or I might actually show a few different types of products. Good thing to know is with products on Pinterest, ones with a context, so in a styled setting, tend to get higher engagement than just a product on a white background. But I use both. Always test that stuff. A call to action button. This is so effective, and literally nobody is doing this. I've been using this for years, but because people have to click on the pin, actually click on the image to get taken to your site, why not have something on there that actually tells them to click? Groundbreaking, right? So in most of my pins that I'm really focusing on highly optimizing, not every single one of my pins look like this, but if I'm trying to create a really powerhouse pin, this is what I do. So I create a call to action button. It's not any different programming. I just literally create a circle or a square, and I put a call to action like click here, shop now, learn more, something like that. It's called a call to action button within the image of my pin. I design most of my pins inside of Canva, so this is no fancy, special kind of software. I can do this in Canva. You can create something like this literally using any kind of like free image creation software. And then I tend to use my logo. So sometimes I'll put my logo up at the top, sometimes down at the bottom. The placement is, kind of irrelevant, but except for it should be on the image. Because particularly if you're going to promote your pins, you're paying for exposure. You want to get your brand recognized out there. So a logo is great. It also protects your content. If you're a photographer or you don't want to think about someone maybe using your imagery without giving you credit, I think some sort of logo or watermark doesn't need to be obnoxious, but just kind of tastefully put down at the bottom is a nice touch. And then last but definitely not least is your caption.
caption. You want to pay attention to your caption and make sure that you're using keywords. This is really important for SEO, getting your search engine optimized pins, getting your pins able to be indexed on search engines. You want to use keywords. You also want to use keywords so that Pinterest actually shows your pins to people when they're searching for things naturally. So, whether you sell home decor or, for me, like I said, monogrammed pillows, those are really important keywords for us to have in all of our ads. And a call to action in the copy. So I would say something like, click here. You can actually put a link in your caption. Did you know this? So many people, there's these little things that nobody is doing, but it's these small little things that create significant wins. So you can actually double your chance of getting a click, getting that traffic, by having a call to action in your image and also in the caption. And to get a link in your caption, all you have to do, get this, all you have to do is type in the URL. When you're writing your caption anyways, you type in the URL, Pinterest automatically hyperlinks it. How easy is that? And last but not least, but important to point out, if you are doing a product-based pin, you can add a price. And the price is important. Pinterest tends to test out different things, which is fine. It's what a social media platform should be doing. So they used to have the price, if you typed it down here, they did a price banner. They don't do that anymore. But who knows, they might bring that back again. But when you tend to do prices, you tend to get indexed in their gifts category. And I don't know exactly how this works. They don't share that information. But I have found that it is good if you're selling a product. It is clearly a product promoting pin to add a little price in the caption as well. And it will show when you actually you upload it, it will actually show in the little sub caption. It'll say in stock with price, just in the way that Pinterest is encoding that pin. Now, to get the most out of your content, you want to know what's working. And this is truly the secret to having more time to put towards what will give you results. I don't want you to have to spend hours a day on Pinterest to be able to use it to get tons of traffic and sales. I don't spend that much time on Pinterest each day, but what I do is I pay attention to what works and what doesn't, so that I'm only putting my time towards the things that I know are going to give me wins in my business. And you can get a lot of insight from Pinterest just by looking at your pins, going back and seeing what stuff's getting pinned, what stuff's not getting repinned, what's getting comments, what's getting likes. You can just look at that at a glance. But also, if you have an official business account, Pinterest has a free analytics tool that you can go and actually track all sorts of crazy stuff that is really, really helpful for your market research. One thing that I want to make sure you're aware of, because it is a relatively new development, is Pinterest Smart Feed. And Pinterest used to work in a way that when you logged in, your feed, kind of like your feed on Facebook, would just be whatever people you followed had most recently pinned. It's not like that anymore. They've developed an algorithm similar to Facebook where they have different things they take into consideration when they decide what to show people in their home feed. The three factors are: one, highest quality pins from people you follow. This is another reason it's very important to be using your analytics tool and be figuring out what's working, what are people engaging with, what are people responding to, because that type of content is what's going to be shown, not your pins that don't have any repins. Second is relates pins back to what you pin. Now this is a really big win for business owners, because this means that your pins can actually be shown to people who aren't following you. I know a lot of people, they just get heartbroken on Pinterest if they don't have tons of followers. Yes, you do want to have a follower base, and we'll talk about that today. But the truth is, if you're getting really good at creating those powerful pins, you're optimizing that content, you can get Pinterest to show your stuff to people that don't even follow you yet. Yet is the operative word there. And last but not least, interests that you're following. That's another reason it's so important to set up your professional Pinterest page properly. It's a lot of P's right there. But a reason that's really important is because when you have your site indexed correctly, you can actually be shown pins and shown accounts from other people that you're not following yet, just based upon the interests that they're indicating. Just important to know, there is a method to the madness, and there's a lot of wins that you might not even be aware of. Step 2 in our 3-step process is to curate and collaborate to build momentum fast. One of the most common questions I get from my clients is, how do I get more followers? I want to use Pinterest for business, or I've been using it for a while, but I just can't seem to really build momentum and get followers. Well, the secret to getting a lot of followers, and you're probably not going to want to hear this, but consistency is key. As in anything in life, as in anything in business, consistency is key, right? You're not going to lose a bunch of weight or have an amazing body if you go to the gym once, but it's going to the gym every day for a long time that establishes those habits and gets those results. The same is true for Pinterest. I can tell you some of my accounts that have gotten, tens of thousands of followers, it's been because I've consistently been on them, adding value, being active. That's what people want to see. But I do understand that as a business owner, you may not have time to spend a ton of time on Pinterest. I will tell you, I found some very simple solutions. I have the app on my phone, and I just make it a point a few times a day if I'm standing in line or I'm waiting for someone or just doing something. I pick up my phone, I go on, and I pin a few things. And it's important to talk about curation, not just creation, because we're going for quality over quantity, right? And a lot of people ask me, Melanie, how much of the content on my page should be my own content versus other stuff I find on Pinterest? And the truth is, there's no magic ratio. I say the more the better. If you're creating really great content, it'd be great if it all was from you. But the truth is, the best way to stay active if you don't have an endless well of content on your hands is to mix in and curate other valuable content you find online and really become a tastemaker for your audience. But additionally, you can create contributor boards or collaboration boards where you allow other people to pin and you all pin together. It's very cool. You can just Google Pinterest collaboration boards. And one of the best ways I have found a way to do this is to find business owners or find people who sell to my audience but sell something different. So for example, if you are a fitness instructor or something and you sell fitness information, you might be able to find someone who sells fitness clothing, and you guys can be a contributor board together and both pin really great stuff that adds value, but in different ways. You're not competing for sales. Does that make sense? But also collaborating with other bloggers, brand ambassadors, finding customers that can pin and really curate information, interns, create collaboration boards so it's not just on your shoulders to be keeping that consistency up. And last but not least, step 3, plan for after the pin. This is what 99% of business owners don't do. They don't think about, after someone clicks on a pin and gets to my site, what am I doing to make sure it's actually going to lead to a sale? So think about it. What happens when someone gets to your site, when someone lands on your site? I want you to take a look at the whole picture. For instance, is your website optimized? And I could go way down a rabbit hole here about website optimization, but essentially, when people come to your site, is it really easy for them to understand what you want them to do? Are they presented with tons of different options? Is it easy to navigate your site, to click around? Think about the experience. If someone comes to your site for the first time, how are you making sure that it is optimized for them to buy something from you or to sign up for a newsletter or something? Think about that optimization step. Are you getting them on your email list? If you're an e-commerce owner like I am, the truth is less than 3% of people will actually buy from you on the first visit to your site. So it is essential that you have something like an email list where you can get them on there, send them a coupon, send them offers or specials or notifications about new products that you've added so that you can make sure to stay in touch because they're obviously interested. Just this one single thing can make a huge difference in your Pinterest marketing efforts. And do you have follow-up in place? As I mentioned, after people sign up for your email list, how are you making sure that you're providing value, that you're taking someone that was mildly interested and helping them understand why they need what you have to offer? It is so important. You'll really see this is where successful business owners stand out. Getting more traffic, increasing your traffic does not directly lead to increasing your sales if you don't have this piece covered. So really take some time. Think about it. Make sure that people understand how to use your site. I call it the mom test. It's very important. When you use your website, you know what everything's supposed to do. You know what's supposed to happen. But have your mom, have a friend, have someone go on there and try and add something to their cart or try and comment on a blog post and make sure they understand what to do, because this will give you huge insight on your customer's visitor experience as well. So here's a word of advice. If you're going to use Pinterest for your business,
do it right. I'm a big believer that the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And so many people are just sloppy with their social media. They just do it to do something, but that's not how you're going to become successful. I can tell you from building seven-figure businesses, you need to have a strategy. I want you to go with a strategy so they don't waste your time doing the wrong things. There are so many people using Facebook, using Pinterest, but because they don't have clear goals, clear expectations, and a plan to follow, they waste a ton of time. I want you to be successful with your business. I want you to take those amazing ideas, those amazing products you have, and get them out into the world. But you need to know what you're doing. So let's recap what we've talked about here today. Inspiration sells. There is no doubt that Pinterest works for business. If you saw the beginning of our presentation, you saw numerous statistics, tons of research that shows how powerful Pinterest is for selling products and services online. We talked about my three-step system for powerful pinning. Number one, creating great original content. Number two, curating and collaborating to build that momentum, to get those followers. And number three, planning for after the pin, thinking about what happens after people actually get to your website and making sure it's going to translate into a new client or customer. Powerful pins. If you're going to spend time creating original content, make it quality over quantity. Create great stuff that is really going to stand out from the clutter online and represent your brand properly. Now, there are lots of people out there that are teaching tactics, that are teaching little things to do here, something to try over there, shiny, shiny, shiny here. There's lots of stuff pulling you a lot of different directions. But what's different is I want to provide you with a proven system for using Pinterest to grow your business, something that I've personally used and something that I've taught thousands of business owners all around the world. Now, what I've created is a program called The Power of Pinning. And inside this program, it's a 100% online digital program, but I show you a completely organized, systematic process for using Pinterest for business. It is not just a bunch of things that you should do or could do. It is a step-by-step process for using Pinterest to get more exposure, more traffic, more sales from start to finish. Because what I realized is that to get traction, to get results from a platform like Pinterest, it's not just about doing something every once in a while or throwing something against the wall and seeing what sticks. I'm giving you a comprehensive understanding of how to use Pinterest for business from start to finish. Now, the program is actually broken down into three main parts to give you a feel for the essential areas where you're going to get the biggest wins. Part one is how to use Pinterest for business. How to use Pinterest to both get and do business. Part two is content creation and curation, the secret to increasing your visibility and growing your brand. And part three is how to use Pinterest to sell. This is my proven system for turning pins into purchases. So let's talk about what is inside part one of this program. Now, part one, using Pinterest for business, is filled with step-by-step tutorials so that you can get your official business account set up, organized, beautifully branded, and get it all prepared for great exposure. So inside this, we're really laying the foundation, and a lot of people try and skip over this, right? They just think, okay, I'll just get my business account set up, and then I want to figure out how to do promoted pins. But successful people know having the proper foundation is very, very important. Because inside of this, I'm going to teach you how to truly optimize your Pinterest business page. And there is a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool features that you get as a business account owner on Pinterest that I really want you to be aware of. So I'm going to talk to you about how to optimize your actual account with keywords, how to get it ranked better on search engines, how you can actually use Pinterest to improve your SEO. These are huge wins. But we'll also be talking about what types of boards you should have on your page, what you should be doing to strategically brand each one of those boards and the entire visual experience that customers have on your page. We're also going to talk about who you should be following, how you can make sure that you're using Pinterest, as I said, not just to get business, but to do business. We'll be profiling a lot of really interesting case studies and examples of brands in a wide variety of industries that are using Pinterest to blow the expectations of their clients, to do very creative and innovative customer research, really tapping into the full potential of using this platform for business. Also be talking about a lot of product R&D or research and development, how you can be finding out pricing strategies, how you can be figuring out what people want to buy from you. This is also really great if you are starting a business or you are starting a new business. If you're like me and you have multiple different businesses, I actually used a Pinterest account from the very beginning to start getting ideas for a new program I created. And the things I found, the insights I gained were critical to the success when I launched that. So thinking about how you can actually use this to get more information and insight on your customer market. Now, inside of part 2, I'm going to be sharing with you incredible content creation and curation strategies. And this is something that I am actually known for in my industry, is creating really beautiful content, creating content that creates desire for my products and my services, creating imagery that just stops people in their tracks. And I'm going to teach you how I do it. I'm going to show you my favorite free tools for creating beautiful pins. You can see some of the examples of pins that I've created in the past for both my products and my services. I am going to totally open up the doors and show you how I do it, step-by-step tutorials. I am not a techie person. I have no background in graphic design, but I can make some pretty great stuff, and I'm going to show you how I do it. Quick and easy content creation that's quality. You know, I'm showing you tutorials on how to do this, but our focus is not on you creating tons of stuff. It's on you creating really good stuff, less but better, because that's how you're going to stand out on this platform. And inside of part 3, we're going to talk about using Pinterest to increase your sales, how to use Pinterest to cultivate desire for your products and services, and actually close the sale. Because inside the power of pinning, this is not just a traffic course. I'm not just teaching you how to get people to your site, but I want to teach you how to actually get your products into people's homes, how to get your services out there so that you can actually help people. All of that is covered in part 3. This is the comprehensive umbrella where it all comes together and you see that full picture. We're going to be talking about the power behind the pin. Power beyond the pin, excuse me. We talked about this today, where I mentioned that getting people to your site is really the first step. What's important is the follow-up. What happens afterwards? What happens on your site? What happens in your email follow-up? I'm going to be sharing with you exclusive insights in how I use Pinterest to increase my sales. We're going to talk about Pinterest ads. Maybe you're really excited. Maybe you have access to Pinterest ads, or you're going to get on the wait list and have access soon. I want to show you the strategies that I know are working because nobody's really talking about it. And I'm successfully using ads right now to drive traffic and sales to my businesses. I'm going to show you what I'm doing, give you a look behind the scenes. In addition to, the key psychological triggers for selling via inspiration, what that whole picture looks like, and including how to get in front of more people, getting more followers, getting more exposure, all of that is going to be covered inside of part 3. So we're going to be talking about list building. We're going to be talking about getting people on your email list. We're going to be talking about using contests, all sorts of very cool stuff that I have personally used, personally tested, and taught thousands of people to do as well that I'm going to be showing you. So the natural question you might be wondering is, what does this program cost? And to be honest with you, most of my programs are thousands of dollars. But I want to do something different for this particular program. I decided to offer the power of pinning for $297, a very entry-level pricing compared to the rest of my product suite. And the reason I wanted to do this is because it is really important to me that more people leverage this platform correctly. Not just get a business account and pin a bunch of mediocre stuff, but people really see what's possible when you create remarkable content on Pinterest. However, I do have a very, very special for you. It is only available for a few days, but I'm giving you the opportunity to get instant access to this entire program, all 3 parts, for just $197 today. This is a special workshop only price. It is not available to the public, and it's only available for a few days. You can click the button on this page right now and get access, immediate complete access after purchasing the program for just $197. Now, when you do enroll in the power of pinning, you will also get some very fun bonuses. Some I'm going to keep as a surprise for you after you log in, but I will tell you one of the favorite parts is the workbook. And I've created a beautiful workbook for you to use as you go through the training, along with the video training, that will capture your creative ideas as you go through. So one of the things a lot of people tell me about my training is they get so much more out of them than just the topic. And I think that's because I do have such an extensive background in business and so many different types of businesses. I've been running e-commerce businesses for over 7 years now, so I have a lot of experience. And the way I teach everything is in kind of a 10,000 foot view, really giving you the full picture and then bringing it down to the step by step. And that allows you to be really sophisticated with the way you cultivate your strategies and also how you execute them. So inside this workbook, you'll find you can print out your plan for convenient at-a-glance reminders. Now, the content inside the power pinning is mostly video-based. So when you log in, you'll see a collection of videos in each of the 3 parts. This workbook is great for you to print out and to use as you go through to take notes, action items, begin creating your plan that you can then go back and conveniently reference to figure out what you want to do next. It also allows you to follow along and map out your action steps. This is very, very important to me. I want you to do the work with me. So a lot of the work inside this program is we're doing it side by side. You've got your Pinterest account created, you're watching my videos on your screen, and you're doing the work with me. We're doing it together so that you're getting results before you've even completed the whole program. Another very cool feature is that when you enroll in this program, you will receive lifetime access with free updates. And a lot of people have told me I'm crazy for doing this, but I really wanted to stand behind what I offer, which means not having it go out of date and also giving my clients lifetime access. A lot of people don't do this with their programs. They make you rebuy it every year to get the latest version. This is really, really important to me that you have this information to go back to, because Pinterest might be something that you're doing with a lot of other things on your plate right now. And I want you to be able to go through the program, but then refer back to certain points when you're ready to dive into those strategies. Lifetime access, free updates. Very, very good deal there. And to even sweeten the deal a little bit more, for those of you with a sweet tooth like me, I'm creating a special gift for the action takers. For those of you that do decide to roll in the power of pinning right now, you're going to click that button while I'm here with you. I am going to give you a special bonus, which is the cover kit. And the cover kit is what you can use to create branded category covers for each one of your Pinterest boards. This just is a beautiful branding touch that hardly any businesses do, but you can see the difference. Most of the time, what's on the cover of your board is the last thing you pinned. So who knows what that could be? Maybe it's one of your products, maybe it's something completely random, maybe it's something that actually doesn't look very good on a board cover. It gets cut off or smushed, or there's a bunch of colors. Most Pinterest boards are just very overwhelming. This allows you to essentially curate your own online boutique, whether it's with content or products, but the branded covers really lend your page an extra air of just professionalism and polish that I would like to be my gift to you for taking action and enrolling here with me today. I'm also going above and beyond, and I'm giving you a 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right. You heard it correct. You have 60 full days to go through the entire program. You get instant access, instant digital access to all of these training videos, all 3 parts, your workbook, all of that. But you still have 60 full days to try out the program and see if it's a right fit for you. And I really have a very extensive money back guarantee. It is no questions asked. If you want a refund, you don't have to prove you did any work, nothing like that. I want you to feel completely risk-free going into this. But the reason that I am able to so confidently offer something as crazy as this is the fact that I've been spending years researching these strategies. I've had over 17,000 people go through this program. I know it works. I can't go to a conference or a business event without someone coming up to me and talking about how this literally changed their business, So I want to get this out in front of as many people. I want to help as many people with this information as possible. Part of that is putting all the risk on myself and offering you absolutely no risk to try this information. These strategies are proven. I've been able to teach them in an incredibly clear and actionable way because I've actually implemented them and used them in my own business. And the reason that I'm different is that there's a lot of experts out there, but very few people are teaching this that have a wide variety of businesses that I do and can teach you from that place of experience. So I want to share with you some results. As I mentioned, tons of people have had results with this training, but I want to give you a feel for really what's possible when you have this kind of information. So Stephanie shared, by applying Melanie's advice, I've been able to create an inspiring destination with my Pinterest boards, a place to share and connect with my customers. I started the course with 60 followers on Pinterest, and I now have a great tribe of more than 2,000 followers and counting who share my content and spread the word for me. Not only am I getting an amazing load of inspiration and keeping an eye on the latest trends, Pinterest is now the #1 traffic source for my online boutique. Melissa shares, the power of pinning training was vital to my understanding of the ins and the outs of Pinterest. The short videos presented the information in such simple steps, I was able to implement the tips right away for instant results. Pinterest is now the #2 traffic referral source to my website, bringing literally thousands of new visitors since I started pinning just a few months ago. Pretty cool, right? And last but not least, a couple more here. I want to show you the different types of businesses that this program works for. Heather, who's a fitness trainer, says, when I started the power of pinning, my life on Pinterest changed dramatically. As of this posting, I have gained almost 2,000 followers in 6 months. I have a pin that is pinned over 600 times and many more, several hundred. That's what happens when you make powerful pins. My website's highest traffic, according to Google Analytics, comes from Pinterest. A huge majority of my opt-in traffic comes from Pinterest, meaning building her email list. And it is all because of what I learned inside of the training. And Lynn shares, since I started implementing some of the things I learned, traffic to my site from Pinterest has almost doubled. This is so cool to see people's success with this. My most successful pin is all thanks to Melanie's suggestion of creating tall pins. As I mentioned, we have over 17,000 members. I would be surprised if this isn't the most successful Pinterest training that is out there. But obviously, I have been able to get this in front of a lot of people, and the fact is it works. I wouldn't have been able to have this many members if people weren't telling their friends, telling their families, telling everyone they know about this program, and it really does get results, as you can see. One of the most common questions I get is, who is this training for? You know, as I mentioned, I sell physical products online, I sell services and information. I've been able to successfully build out professional Pinterest pages for all of those businesses, but I've also helped business owners in a wide variety of industries you can see here, and it works. It works if you sell products. It works if you sell services. The information inside the power of pinning has helped realtors sell more homes. It has helped authors sell more books. It has helped people in the cosmetic industry, even network marketers, bloggers, fitness health coaches. There is literally, if you sell to women, this is the big distinction. If you sell to women, this program can teach you how to sell more of that, how to get more exposure. If you have an entirely male market, this is probably not the right program for you unless you're really about going after that small segment of men on Pinterest. But if you sell to women, if you sell anything, this program can teach you how to sell more of it. And I love to tell people, this is a bite-sized and actionable training. I don't want you spending more than an hour a week on Pinterest unless you want to. I'm going to show you how to create a scalable system that requires just a little bit of time each week, but will continually provide you with an endless stream of quality traffic to your site. So now what I want to do is I want to open this up for questions. You have been so wonderful as we moved through a lot of material, a lot of information. And again, if you do want to learn more about the power of pinning, you want to check it out for 60 days, click the button on this page and take a look. This is a very exciting opportunity for you with a very special price that will only be available for a few days. So let me go ahead, I'm going to start a timer. This timer is for our special bonus, that cover kit that I'm giving you today as a gift if you enroll before this timer ends. So it has to be before the timer ends. If you already purchased, we will go ahead and give you that cover kit, but this is for those of you in this last portion of the workshop that do decide to join me. And they're called fast action bonuses, right? That's kind of the term for them. I do fast action bonuses for a really specific reason. When I first had just my e-commerce businesses, there were a lot of times I would get in a rut and I would not know what I needed to do to get my business to that next level. And I purchased a program. It was a much more substantial investment than what I'm asking for you to do today for the power of pinning. But it took a lot to get me to take the leap. In fact, I actually enrolled in the program, I think 3 minutes before it was closing, before they were not going to offer it anymore. And I think a lot of times we require triggers to get us to take action. I know this information can be game-changing for you with your business on Pinterest. So I'm going to do everything I can to convince you to take that step, to take action, because I want to see you succeed. So we're going to go ahead, have that timer run, and I want to ask, how can I help you determine if this course is right for you? This course is not right for everyone, but it is right for a lot of people. And I want to encourage you, even if you are a business owner and you don't have the time to personally go through this program, this is great to give to a VA, to give to an assistant, to give to an intern. They can take it and implement it in your business for you. So think about, even if you can't do something, if you have a scalable team or even you have a VA you use, they can go through this information and apply it for you for your business. So one of the most common questions I get, and I'm assuming it's going to start coming in here as people start asking questions, is how long is this going to take? Okay, it's 3 parts, it's a bunch of videos. How long does it actually take me to go through? Well, the truth is, because I'm a business owner just like you, I know that the last thing you have an abundance of is time. So these videos are bite-sized. In fact, most of them are around 10 minutes long. The entire course should not take you more than 4 hours to go through, to actually watch the content. It can take you more time if you're going to go and create 30 new pins, but the actual content inside the course is very actionable and very bite-sized. Like I said, less than a few hours worth of content, because my goal is not to have you watch a bunch of videos. That is not going to get you a result. What gets your result is actually doing the work, taking the action, implementing it. So I want you spending as little time as possible learning and as much time as possible doing. So yes, this entire course you can go through within a few hours. Most people take a week. They watch an hour a day, they go through and they get it done within a week. All right, so type your questions in the chat and I'm happy to go through and answer them. All right, so let's find some good ones here. All right, Allison is asking, great question from Allison. How long does this take to see results with the training? So if I'm telling you, oh, it takes a week, that is, of course, one of those it depends types of questions. But I would say most people tend to see really big results within 2 weeks. If you create a really powerful pin and you get it out there, you could see results within an hour, within minutes, literally. But to really see that traction, if you're going to build up a bunch of followers, if you're going to increase traffic, I would say you need to go through the course, which will probably take you, depending on how passionate you are, it could take you a day, it could take you about a week to go through. But then after that, you want a full week to execute, to implement, to build momentum. Within 2 weeks, you should be seeing more repins, more clicks, and more traffic and sales to your site. So that's what I would say within 2 weeks. Some people, it takes more so a month. It depends at what stage you're starting in, but this is a course you can see results very, very quickly. All right, our next question. Oh, this is good. This question is coming from Molly. Molly is asking, what if I don't have a website? And she's explaining that she actually is in a network marketing company. So how many of you here are doing some sort of network or direct marketing? So in this case, you do not need to have a website to use Pinterest for business. Here is the caveat though. You do need to have some sort of a way to be building a clientele, building a list. So one of the things you'll really want to pay attention to if you are in network or direct marketing, we've had a lot of people just like you get phenomenal results from this program. You will want to make sure that you have some way to follow up with them. So whether you can get them on an email list, which we show you how to do inside the program, you do want to have a touch point so that you have a way to follow up with people. You can even comment and talk back and forth with people or comment on your pins, but you need to make sure that you have a touch point in place to not just be pinning a bunch of stuff, but then also figuring out how to sell your actual products. Okay, so that answers website. Another question that I think it's Andrea is asking that is very important. If you asking, do I need to have a business? Some people might be watching this and you have an idea for a business, or you're just getting started, maybe you don't have that website yet. This program, believe it or not, this program is actually excellent for if you are just starting a business or are going to get a business started, because it
Oh, don't know what's happened to her there. Whether she's got cut off her end. I'll leave it a minute or two and see if she comes back on. It's nice to see that even, the people that are at the top get things, the technology doesn't work. You can't rely on technology. But no, as I wait while she comes back on, if she does come back on, is I found that really, really good actually. I'm certainly going to go on and change my my Pinterest account that I set up a week ago onto a business account definitely. Um, and Pinterest makes a lot of sense to me now. I have gone on and I've just been like, oh wow, this is really, really good. It does excite me, and I like how she was saying like the imagery. Like it really does excite me more than just scrolling through my Facebook feed. So it is something I really, really enjoy. So I think I'll become a Pinterest geek. I think just live on that instead of Facebook nowadays. But yeah, certainly very worth listening into. Anyway, I'm going to pop it on and share with the team. I don't think she's going to come back on, so what I'll do, I shall close it off now. Right, see you later. Bye.